If you eat any of these 20 common foods, you need to pay close attention because they're about to disappear from store shelves. RFK Jr. has announced plans to eliminate petroleum-based colorants and synthetic food dyes from the U.S. food supply as part of the Make America Healthy Again movement, and for good reason. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, these are just food colorings. How bad can they really be? Well, let me tell you something that might shock you. These aren't just harmless colorings that make food look pretty. These are toxic chemicals derived from coal tar and petroleum that have been linked to cancer, brain damage, and developmental disorders in children. Yes, you heard that right? Coal tar, the same stuff used to pave roads. Here's what really gets me fired up about this. While Europe banned most of these chemicals years ago, American food companies have continued pumping them into our food supply, turning everyday snacks into chemical cocktails. Think about that for a moment. European children have been protected from these toxins for over a decade, while American kids continue to consume them daily in their lunchboxes. Today we're exposing the 20 most dangerous foods in your pantry and revealing the exact chemicals that make them so harmful to your health. Each of these foods contains specific toxic compounds that don't just pass through your system harmlessly. Instead, they accumulate in your tissues, cross your blood-brain barrier, and poison your cellular energy systems. But here's the educational part that most people don't understand. Your body treats these synthetic chemicals as foreign invaders. Your liver has to work overtime trying to process substances it was never designed to handle, while your immune system goes into overdrive creating inflammation throughout your body. This chronic inflammatory response is what leads to the long-term health problems we're seeing skyrocket in America today. Starting with the most notorious offender, food number 1. Skittles contains red dye number 40, also known as Allura Red AC. Now, let me break this down for you in simple terms. This petroleum-derived chemical is manufactured from coal tar and contains benzene compounds that have been directly linked to hyperactivity in children and potential DNA damage. When you eat Skittles, you're essentially consuming a rainbow of industrial chemicals that were never meant for human consumption. Here's what's really fascinating from a scientific perspective. Benzene is classified as a known human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Yet somehow, we're allowing derivatives of this chemical to be sprinkled into candy that we give to our children. It's like putting a tiny bit of gasoline in their lunchbox and calling it food coloring. Food number 2. Lucky Charms takes the toxicity to another level by combining red dye number 40 with yellow number 6, creating what scientists call a neurotoxic cocktail. Yellow number 6, or sunset yellow, disrupts neurotransmitter function in developing brains and has been associated with severe behavioral problems in children. The combination of these two petroleum-based dyes amplifies their individual toxic effects, making every bowl of Lucky Charms a chemical assault on your nervous system. Think about this for a moment. Your child's brain is still developing until they're about 25 years old. During this critical period, they're consuming chemicals that literally interfere with the chemical messengers that control learning, memory, and behavior. Is it any wonder we're seeing unprecedented rates of ADHD and learning disabilities? Food number 3, Pop-Tarts, specifically the strawberry variety, relies on the same red dye number 40 that accumulates in your tissues over time. This synthetic colorant doesn't just pass through your system harmlessly. Instead, it builds up in your organs and causes chronic cellular inflammation that can persist for months after consumption. What's particularly concerning about Pop-Tarts is that they're marketed as a quick breakfast option for busy families. Parents think they're giving their kids a convenient meal to start the day, but they're actually loading them up with chemicals that will interfere with their ability to focus and learn in school. Food number 4. Fruit roll-ups combine red dye number 40 with yellow number 5, also called tartrazine. Yellow number 5 is particularly dangerous because it's derived from coal tar and contains sulfonic acid compounds that can trigger severe allergic reactions, asthma attacks, and hyperactivity disorders. The combination creates a synergistic toxic effect that's far more dangerous than either chemical alone. Here's something that will blow your mind. Sulfonic acid is used in industrial cleaning products and petroleum refining, yet the FDA considers it safe to put in children's snacks. The logic is baffling when you really think about it. Food number 5. Red Gatorade uses the same red dye number 40. But what makes this particularly concerning is that athletes and active individuals often consume large quantities, thinking they're fueling their bodies for peak performance. Instead, they're flooding their systems with synthetic colorants that interfere with cellular energy production and have been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, potentially affecting cognitive function and reaction times. The irony here is incredible. Athletes are obsessed with optimizing their performance, carefully measuring their protein intake and timing their carbohydrates, yet they're consuming drinks that contain chemicals that literally poison their cellular energy systems. It's like putting sugar in your gas tank and expecting your car to run better. Food number 6. Cheetos gets its signature orange color from yellow dye number 6, which contains sulfonic acid compounds that can severely damage kidney function. Laboratory studies have shown that this azo dye can cause adrenal gland tumors and disrupt hormonal balance. Every bag of Cheetos delivers a concentrated dose of these toxic compounds directly into your bloodstream. Now, let me explain what azo dyes actually are, because this is where it gets really interesting from a chemistry perspective. Azo dyes are synthetic compounds that contain nitrogen-nitrogen double bonds. These bonds are incredibly stable, which is why the colors stay so vibrant. But here's the problem. When these compounds break down in your digestive system, they can form aromatic amines, which are known carcinogens. So that bright orange color that makes Cheetos so appealing is literally created by chemicals that can cause cancer. Food number 7. Doritos doubles down on the danger by combining yellow number 6 with yellow number 5. This double dose of coal tar-derived dyes creates intense oxidative stress in your cells and has been directly linked to attention deficit disorders and learning disabilities in children. The benzene rings in these compounds can actually break DNA strands, leading to cellular mutations. Think about what oxidative stress means in practical terms. Imagine your cells are like cars, and oxidative stress is like rust spreading throughout the engine. Over time, this rust damages the essential parts that keep your cellular machinery running smoothly. Now multiply that by the trillions of cells in your body, and you start to understand why chronic consumption of these chemicals leads to systemic health problems. Food number 8. Kraft mac and cheese, a staple of childhood meals, contains both yellow number 5 and yellow number 6. Tartrazine, the chemical name for yellow number 5, contains benzene rings that can trigger severe asthma attacks and skin reactions, while simultaneously causing DNA strand breaks at the cellular level. Parents feeding this to their children are unknowingly exposing them to chemicals that can permanently alter their genetic material. Here's what really gets me about Kraft mac and cheese. It's positioned as comfort food, something nurturing that parents give their children. But when you understand that you're literally feeding your child chemicals that can damage their DNA, it becomes anything but comforting. It's heartbreaking when you realize that parents who think they're providing a quick, easy meal are actually harming their children's genetic material. Food number 9. Mountain Dew represents a perfect storm of toxicity by combining yellow number 5 with brominated vegetable oil, known as BVO. BVO contains bromine, which is literally a flame retardant chemical. This industrial compound accumulates in your fat tissues and can cause memory loss, skin lesions, and neurological disorders. The fact that this is considered safe for human consumption is mind-boggling. Let me put this in perspective for you. Bromine is in the same chemical family as chlorine and fluorine. It's a halogen. These are highly reactive elements that are used in everything from water purification to industrial bleaching. When you drink Mountain Dew, you're consuming a flame retardant that builds up in your body fat and can interfere with your thyroid function. Your thyroid controls your metabolism, so you're literally drinking something that can slow down your body's ability to burn calories. Food number 10. Fruit Loops creates what toxicologists call a triple threat by combining yellow number 6, red number 40, and blue number 1 in a single product. This neurotoxic blend disrupts dopamine pathways in the brain, interferes with cellular communication, and can permanently alter brain chemistry in developing children. Dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. It's what makes you feel good when you accomplish something or experience pleasure. When you disrupt dopamine pathways in a developing brain, you're essentially rewiring how that child experiences motivation and pleasure for the rest of their life. It's no coincidence that we're seeing epidemic levels of depression and anxiety in young people who've grown up consuming these chemical cocktails. Food number 11, blue M&Ms contain blue dye number 1, also called brilliant blue FCF, which has the terrifying ability to cross your blood-brain barrier. Once this synthetic colorant reaches your brain tissue, it inhibits nerve cell development and can interfere with normal brain function. Studies have shown that this chemical can actually change the structure of brain cells. Let me explain why the blood-brain barrier is so important. Your brain is like a fortress, protected by this selective barrier that only allows essential nutrients and chemicals to pass through. It's your body's way of protecting your most vital organ from toxins and foreign substances. The fact that blue dye number 1 can breach this natural defense system should be absolutely terrifying to every parent. Once it's in your brain, it can literally reshape the architecture of your neural networks. Food number 12. Gatorade Frost uses the same blue number 1, which is particularly concerning because athletes often consume multiple bottles during training or competition. This artificial colorant interferes with mitochondrial function, essentially poisoning the energy factories in your cells while you're trying to perform at peak levels. Here's the educational piece that most people don't understand about mitochondria. These tiny structures inside your cells are responsible for producing ATP, which is literally the energy currency of life. Everything you do, from thinking to breathing to moving, requires ATP. When you consume chemicals that poison your mitochondria, you're sabotaging your body's ability to produce energy at the most fundamental level. It's like putting sand in the engine of every cell in your body. Food number 13. Blue popsicles often contain both blue number 1 and blue number 2, known as indigo carmine. Blue number 2 contains sulfonic acid groups that laboratory studies have linked to brain tumors in animals. These aren't just theoretical risks. These are documented cellular changes that occur when these chemicals interact with living tissue. What's particularly disturbing about blue number 2 is how it's made. The manufacturing process involves treating indigo with concentrated sulfuric acid, the same acid that can burn through metal. While the final product is supposedly purified, trace amounts of these industrial chemicals can remain. We're talking about giving children treats that contain residues from one of the most corrosive substances on Earth. Food number 14. Twinkies combines yellow number 5 with titanium dioxide, creating a particularly dangerous combination. Titanium dioxide exists as nanoparticles that can penetrate cell membranes and cause direct DNA damage. When combined with yellow number 5, which disrupts neurotransmitter synthesis, you get a product that attacks your body on multiple cellular levels simultaneously. Now, let's talk about nanoparticles for a moment, because this is cutting-edge science that most people don't understand. Nanoparticles are so incredibly small that they can slip right through your cellular defenses. To put this in perspective, if a cell were the size of a football field, a nanoparticle would be about the size of a marble. These tiny invaders can penetrate deep into your organs, including your brain, and cause damage at the molecular level. The fact that we're putting them in snack cakes is absolutely insane. Food number 15. Instant ramen seasoning packets are chemical bombs containing yellow number 5, yellow number 6, and monosodium glutamate. This combination creates what neuroscientists call an excitotoxic effect, meaning it literally kills brain cells while disrupting your blood-brain barrier. The protective barrier that keeps toxins out of your brain becomes compromised, allowing even more dangerous substances to reach your neural tissue. Here's what's really scary about excitotoxicity. It's like overloading an electrical circuit. Your brain cells communicate through electrical and chemical signals, and when you flood them with excitotoxins like MSG, they literally get so excited that they die. It's called excitotoxicity because the cells are excited to death. College students eating ramen every day are unknowingly destroying their brain cells while trying to save money on food. Food number 16. Red Jell-O combines red dye number 40 with artificial flavoring chemicals like benzyl acetate, a petroleum derivative that can cause central nervous system depression and respiratory irritation. This isn't just about color anymore. It's about a complete chemical makeover of what should be simple food. Benzyl acetate is fascinating from a chemical perspective because it's also used as a solvent for plastics and resins. When you eat red Jell-O, you're consuming the same chemical that's used to dissolve plastic. Let that sink in for a moment. We're feeding our children desserts that contain plastic solvents, and we wonder why cancer rates are skyrocketing. Food number 17. Maraschino cherries represent the pinnacle of chemical processing, containing red dye number 40, sodium benzoate, and sulfur dioxide. This preservative cocktail creates carcinogenic compounds when these chemicals interact with each other in your digestive system, potentially causing cellular mutations that can lead to cancer. What happens in your stomach is like a chemistry lab experiment gone wrong. When sodium benzoate meets the acidic environment of your stomach, especially in the presence of vitamin C, it can form benzene, a known carcinogen. So every time you eat a maraschino cherry, you're potentially creating cancer-causing compounds right in your digestive tract. Food number 18. Mint gum contains green dye number 3, also called fast green FCF, combined with artificial sweeteners like aspartame. Green number 3 is a benzene-based dye that laboratory studies have linked to bladder tumors, while aspartame breaks down into formaldehyde and methanol in your body. You're essentially chewing on embalming fluid and wood alcohol. The irony of mint gum is that people chew it to freshen their breath and feel healthier, but they're actually poisoning themselves with every piece. Formaldehyde is what morticians use to preserve dead bodies, and methanol is wood alcohol that can cause blindness. Yet somehow the FDA considers it safe to put in chewing gum. Food number 19. Hot dog casings use orange bee dye, which contains azo compounds that transform into carcinogenic aromatic amines when processed by the bacteria in your gut. Your own digestive system becomes a chemical factory, converting these synthetic dyes into cancer-causing substances. This is where the science gets really disturbing. Your gut bacteria are supposed to be your allies, helping you digest food and maintain your immune system. But when you consume orange bee dye, these beneficial bacteria become unwitting accomplices in creating carcinogens. It's like turning your best friends into enemies without them even knowing it. Finally, food number 20. Florida oranges with dyed peels contain citrus red number 2, a xanthine dye contaminated with heavy metals that can cause thyroid dysfunction and severe hormonal disruption. Even fruit isn't safe when the food industry gets involved with synthetic chemicals. The tragic irony here is that oranges are supposed to be healthy, packed with vitamin C and natural nutrients. But when food companies dye the peels to make them look more appealing, they're contaminating nature's perfect package with industrial chemicals. It's like putting makeup on a beautiful person with toxic paint. You're destroying the very thing you're trying to enhance. The science behind these bans is overwhelming, and once you understand it, you can't unsee the truth. These chemicals bioaccumulate in your tissues, meaning they build up over time like a toxic savings account that you never wanted to open. They cross your blood-brain barrier, which is supposed to be your brain's security system. They poison your cellular energy systems, essentially sabotaging your body's ability to function at the most basic level. They create massive oxidative stress, which is like internal rusting that damages every cell in your body. And they trigger chronic inflammation that leads to degenerative diseases. But here's what gives me hope. RFK Jr. has announced plans to eliminate these 8 petroleum-based food dyes within the next 2 years, with the FDA already beginning the process to revoke approval for several of these toxic compounds. This represents the biggest shift in food policy that we've seen in decades. The food industry has spent billions of dollars convincing us that these chemicals are safe, but the evidence is overwhelming. They're not. European children have been protected from these toxins for years, and it's time American children received the same protection. Your health is your wealth, and every meal is either moving you toward disease or toward wellness. The choice is yours. But now you have the knowledge to make an informed decision. Remember, we're not just talking about avoiding a few artificial colors. We're talking about reclaiming your health, protecting your children's developing brains, and breaking free from a food system that prioritizes profits over people. The revolution starts in your kitchen, with every choice you make about what to put in your shopping cart. Choose wisely, because your life literally depends on it.